Morning, all. All right, news of the day video for all you fine people as we're in between the first and second period of Colorado and Boston. And we're going to talk about the trade. Obviously, the trade is going to be the big news is going to dominate things today unless some other big trade comes down. But we'll start off talking about the Avalanche. So basically, Rantanen, the rumor has always been that he's looking for 14 million as a cap hit, and that's I think in line with what Draisaitl's getting. And not that he doesn't deserve it, but Colorado has an internal cap structure. They currently have McKinnon at 12.6 million a year, and Makar is due next year when the cap's going through the roof. So they didn't want to be paying a ton of money to three players, and so they made the difficult decision to move Rantanen. They've been in discussions apparently over the last week and trying to figure out a way to get there, but they just didn't see a path to signing Rantanen. So now that is Carolina's job to try to sign him, and they have plenty of time, as I mentioned in the trade video yesterday, they have plenty of time to discuss it. Now, Chicago, and the reason I'm wearing a Hawks jersey is I totally understand what Chicago did here, and so I'll go through it again, and from what I've been reading today, my hunch on this seems to have been correct. So, first off, Taylor Hall is a pending unrestricted free agent, so they were going to move him at the deadline. And if they'd retained half of his money, that would have been $3 million in retention. They didn't retain anything. They retained on Rantanen, of course. And with the development of young players in the organization, his role on the team diminishes. Plus, Green, Moore, and Renzel are three top prospects for Chicago who could all turn pro very soon. And Oliver Moore's the one to keep an eye on. He has a really high ceiling. So Chicago just thinking ahead and having Taylor Hall as part of this deal makes a lot of sense. Donato, Maroon, and Martinez are amongst other pending unrestricted free agents for the Chicago Blackhawks. And in this trade, they saved $1.375 million in cap hit. So they get all of the money out for Hall's contract. They retain half of Rantanen's, and it saves them $1.375 million, plus they add their own draft pick back. I did see somebody say that they could then use that for an offer sheet. The thing is, it's a 2025 third-round draft pick, and offer sheets aren't until July. So that's a draft pick they're either going to keep or they're going to use in another trade. I would think they're probably going to keep it. But I do like what Chicago did here, so that's the Chicago garb. There's some good young players. I think Nazar and the way that he's been playing lately for Chicago, absolutely I can understand that would make Hall kind of expendable. They brought Taylor Hall in originally as somebody to kind of shepherd Bedard along, and it hasn't really worked out in that fashion. He got injured last year, missed most of the season. This year he's been playing, but his production has definitely dropped, and so yeah, Chicago makes the move, and I think it was a smart one on their behalf. Now, for the Carolina Hurricanes, they were apparently also talking to the Canucks about Miller and potentially Pettersson as well. And if it had been a Pettersson deal, Natchez would have been going the other way. So Carolina's out on either of the Vancouver Canucks big players. So the view that all the insiders seem to have is that Miller and Pettersson are still out there, and now they're going to be two of the bigger names remaining now that Rantanen's off the blocks. And I keep seeing people talking about how terrible Pettersson is and they need to get rid of him. If you guys are right and Pettersson's as awful and horrible and gutless as everybody says he is, why in the world would any team make a phone call to the Canucks for that contract? So what you're arguing is this player has absolutely no value whatsoever. The guy is a terrible hockey player, and if somebody could take this $11 million cap hit, well, they're not going to take that without asking for multiple first-round draft picks if your assertion is correct. So I don't see the Canucks doing a deal there. So yeah, it's just one of those weird things. I've noticed that fans do that all the time. I know it's not just Canuck fans, but I always get a kick out of it when it's, this guy's absolutely awful. He's destroying our team. We need to trade him. Wouldn't another GM know that's going on? Don't they get paid to know that kind of stuff? So there was a minor trade made this morning. Lucas Edmonds, 23 years of age, goes to the Rangers. He is a right winger. He was a number 86 pick in 2022. So since he's 23 right now, means he was likely drafted as an overager. In the AHL this year, 26 games, 1 goal, 4 assists, 5 points. Going the other way to Tampa, Ryder Korzak, who's 22 years of age. He was a number 75 pick in 2021. He's a center. In the AHL this year, 35 games, 3 goals, 8 assists, 11 points. So strictly a minor league deal, but it's a sign that we're getting closer to the trade deadline. We are now less than 6 weeks from the trade deadline, so kind of exciting. Now, one thing that all of this Rantanen trade has done is it's stirred up that could Colorado get Sidney Crosby to be the number 2 center behind McKinnon? Can you imagine? And so fans and press are definitely running with that idea, but there's some cold water being poured upon this in that apparently, first off, the Penguins view Crosby as untouchable, and they should. You can't replace Sidney Crosby. Even at this stage in his career, he's irreplaceable. He also has a no movement clause, so you can't trade him without him wanting to go. And he apparently has no desire for a trade from Pittsburgh. Totally understand why he wouldn't have any desire for a move at this point in time in his career. He got that extension. He got his no movement clause for a reason. So I don't blame him for not wanting out of Pittsburgh at this point in time. Let me know your thoughts. But it does seem like any idea that Crosby could be on the move, that's off the table. The Milwaukee Admirals, this is a nice gesture. So Bob Uecker passed recently, 90 years of age. I remember Bob Uecker's WrestleMania moments and all of that fun stuff. And I used to enjoy Bob Uecker's commentary. I seriously, baseball was so much more entertaining when Bob Uecker would be doing the commentary of the game. The most self-deprecating without being distracting of any announcer I've ever seen. So the Milwaukee Admirals, to pay homage to him, they're bringing back these plaid jacket jerseys. He had this really loud plaid jacket he'd wear. So they had jerseys that were made in that style. They're going to wear them for the final home game of the regular season on April 18th, and then the Admirals will put them up for auction. It's a jersey I would love to have, but I don't want to pay the amount of money that I think it's going to cost for that jersey. But that's the kind of jersey that, yeah, that's so ugly that would fit right into the collection. I do like the ugly jerseys. I get a kick out of them. The Admirals plaid jacket jerseys to honor Bob Uecker. I think those are going to be great. So, yeah, April 18th, final regular season home game. Mark that down if you're a Milwaukee fan or in the area. Boone Jenner. So good news for Columbus. I talked about their face-off problems in the Columbus video I did. Right away, Columbus fans are like, hey, Jenner comes back, our face-offs will be fine. Well, Jenner was spotted at practice in a full contact jersey as well. So things are going pretty well for him. He's returning soon, but he's not playing for Columbus tonight. So the Blue Jackets are hosting the Kings. He will not be in the lineup for that game, but he is trending towards a return, I would say, within a week. It definitely looks like he should be back within a week. And that should have a positive effect on a Columbus team that's already been playing pretty well, especially at home. They need to find a way to win as often on the road as they do at home. If they do, they're a playoff team. So maybe getting Jenner back will send it that way. Interesting article in The Athletic detailing that players have really changed how they live their lives off the ice over the last 10 to 15 years. That it used to be, you go out drinking. I think it was Nate Schmidt that was quoted in the article saying that players would tell him, if you can't play hungover in this league, you don't belong in it. There are famous stories of players who've played while inebriated, who've had a few and then go out and play a hockey game. This is no longer considered to be a good way to go about business, and players have moved away from alcohol and the parties that they have, and they're basically just, having an edible and playing video games kind of thing. That's more the vibe now around hockey players. And so, yeah, it does mean that you're going to have less, like, parties while players are all out together. It also, honestly, if you're running an NHL team, you probably prefer this anyways, because how many times have players got themselves into trouble when they go out partying, they go to a bar, they go, and it's all over the news. So I don't think they're going to be concerned. So apparently 38% of the players that were polled in this athletic poll said, edibles are kind of the way they go. There's painkillers that have been used in the past. There's been various addictions that are going around. So if a player at the end of the day is for aches and pains going that route instead, there you go. The partying and the boozing are apparently out for your current National Hockey League players. It does feel like partying and boozing isn't as popular as it used to be, but hey, things change. I think hockey players are just reflecting what I think, has been a societal shift, really. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I know, deep topics in this video. I know. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. And if you're not watching the Colorado-Boston game, I will tell you this. Necas and Drury are both in the lineup. I was kind of surprised that, considering it's a matinee game, they just got traded less than 24 hours ago, that they're already in the lineup. But they're already in the lineup. And Necas hasn't looked bad playing with McKinnon so far. So we'll see how things go. But let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.